Hello everyone, so today's video is going to be all of the manga that I've dropped throughout the years. So I said all the manga, technically it's not all the manga, because if I read like one volume of a series and didn't decide to continue it, I'm not counting that in my dropped series. It's only if I read a couple volumes and then decided to drop it, usually about 3 volumes. And some of these are pretty popular, so if you see a popular series on my list or one that you really like, I promise it's not because I don't like you, it's because I didn't like the manga. Actually, I said a couple of these are popular, they're all popular manga. So, yeah, I'm gonna get in trouble for this video, but this video was pretty requested and I wanted to do it anyway because I like talking about manga. I don't like more than I like talking about manga. I do like sometimes. So that's definitely what this video is going to entail. So anyway, let's get started. So the first manga I want to talk about in this video is Bakuman. I dropped this manga 8 volumes in. I gave it a good shot. But I knew after the second chapter that I was not going to like this manga, but I kept reading it because I was hoping it would get better, and I did like the creating manga aspect of this manga, but the flaws in it were just way too bad for me to actually enjoy the manga, enjoy my time reading it. I just got more and more angry as I read the manga. So if you read the second chapter of Bakuman, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about, and so you have one of the main characters talking about how smart girls are actually stupid because they don't realize that men don't like it when they're smart or something like that, okay? So that sets up this whole stage for how the manga treats women, basically. I somehow made it 8 volumes in though, and I remember dropping it at volume 8 because there's a female manga artist in this manga, and they make her draw panty shots in her manga, even though she really doesn't like it. She's not comfortable with it, but they make her do it anyway, and then they play it off as a joke. And that's when I decided I had enough of this manga. I knew it wasn't going to go anywhere that I liked. Also, I hate the romance. I don't like romance in most manga, but I really hated it in this manga. And so yeah, I know people really like this manga, and they like the insight it gives you on the manga industry or whatever. I didn't even believe half of that was true anyway. I understand the manga authors are Shonen Jump authors, so they know some things, obviously, about, they have experience in the trade, but I didn't feel like that part of the manga was even realistic at that point, where I got to anyway. So yeah, I dropped Bakuman 8 volumes in. I know it's a very popular manga. I do not like it though, and that's why. The next one is kind of similar. I dropped Fire Force, literally in the middle of a battle scene in the middle of volume 4, I think. Because of, if you've read any of Fire Force, you probably know why. But I can deal with fan service. Usually I'll just ignore it. It's whatever. In shonen manga usually. But the way it's done in Fire Force just pisses me off. And I didn't care about the characters or the plot enough to continue through it anyway, through the terrible fan service. And the fact that this fan service happens in the middle of an important battle scene, it just completely disrupts the story that was happening, or the tone that was happening. I immediately dropped it. I didn't even finish the chapter. I saw that and I was like, yeah, I'm done. So that's why I've stopped reading Fire Force. The next manga I dropped, I can't even remember why, but it's Maggie. So I dropped Maggie at volume 8. I think I just didn't care anymore. I was at volume 8 and it wasn't interesting to me enough. And the characters, I wasn't attached to the characters at all. So I just dropped it at volume 8 because I didn't want to read anymore. And there's 30 something volumes in that, and I've heard the ending wasn't good, which isn't a reason that I dropped it. I just didn't care anymore. And when I'm 8 volumes in and I don't care about the characters or the plot or anything, then I just drop it because it feels like a waste of time to be reading that. This next one might be the most popular manga on this list, but there's another one coming up later that's also super popular. So I dropped My Hero Academia. I think it was either volume 7 or 8. I dropped My Hero Academia. I really liked the first tournament arc. I think it's a tournament arc, I believe. This is a long time since I read this. But I really liked the first tournament arc. And I really thought I was going to enjoy the rest of the series. And then the arc after that, I felt like the sense of danger disappeared. Even though I felt like I was supposed to be feeling a sense of danger, I didn't feel it. And I didn't care about anything that was happening, and I dropped it pretty quickly after that because I just didn't care. I also like some of the characters, but I'm not that attached to them. And I know people really like the characters in My Hero Academia, but I don't have any of them that I really enjoy. There's a couple of them that are fine, but I don't really have that same attachment as I do to some characters in other series that I really enjoy. So I dropped My Hero Academia at volume 7 or 8. Honestly, I think whenever the manga finishes, I will go back and read it just to see what people are talking about, because I know it gets kind of crazy towards where it is right now. So I think once it's finished, I'll actually go through and read it all. But for now, it's sitting in my dropped pile. The next one I think is kind of different from everything else on this list. So I dropped Nana 3 volumes in. So I read 3 volumes. I decided I didn't care for it and I dropped it. Not because it pissed me off like some of these other ones. It didn't like anger me at all. I just didn't care for it. I don't know how to describe it. Like, I didn't care for the characters. They were fine, but I wasn't that attached to them. I felt like it could become pretty melodramatic. Obviously I didn't read that far, so I'm not sure if that's how it goes. But I did look up some spoilers at the end, or towards the end, and yeah. So I don't really have a reason for dropping Nana. I just wasn't that interested. It didn't grip me, so I dropped it 3 volumes in. I don't think I'm going to go back and reread this, probably because it probably won't ever be finished, which hasn't stopped me with some series, but I don't know. I don't think this one will ever captivate me again. I tried it because it was popular, but it wasn't for me. And this next one, I think this one might give me the most trouble with people. So the next one I dropped was One Punch Man. I think I dropped it at like 13 or 14 volumes in. I'm not sure. I was reading it weekly or whatever the schedule is for that manga when it was coming out a couple years ago at this point, and I just didn't care anymore. One Punch Man is funny. Some of the arcs are okay, but I just don't care anymore. It's fine. I like some of the characters, but not really. I feel like when I'm reading, I need kind of like a sense of danger when I'm reading like a shonen action manga like that, and I don't really feel that in One Punch Man. Some of the villains are okay, especially where I was getting to. I felt like one of the villains was more interesting, but I just don't care. And I've had someone be like, how could you drop One Punch Man? And I don't have a very good reason. It's just like I lost interest and I don't really care about it. And yeah, so not everything has to like completely do something that I really hate. I just didn't really know why I was still reading it. So I dropped it. And that's a valid reason to drop something. If it's not completely interesting you or captivating you, you can drop that manga that you think you're going to drop. That's going to be the message of this video. Just drop the manga all the time. Just do it. It doesn't matter. I say that as someone who's kind of a completionist and has to finish the manga that they're reading usually. But I will drop manga if I feel like I just don't know why I'm reading it anymore. The next one I dropped was Platinum End. I dropped this 2 volumes in because I did not like it. There's not really any like big reason except for I felt like it wasn't good. And I can't remember the exact details because this was quite a few years ago now that I dropped Platinum End. It was when volume 2 came out. Like there were only 2 volumes out when I read it. And I just felt like it was not very good. And I can't remember why at this point. I remember there being like angels and arrows. And that's it. That's actually funny because I know that this duo, I can't remember their names at the top of my head, but the duo who did Death Note, Bakuman, Platinum End are very, very popular, and I don't like any of their manga. So maybe I should stop reading their manga. And the last one, I think, might be the most surprising in this video, maybe. I don't think anyone even knows I've read this manga. But I read 8 volumes of The Ancient Magus Bride. And just from beginning to read it, at the very beginning, I felt uncomfortable with it already just because of the situation that it entails. And it was getting better, and I did really like the world and all the various mystical creatures, and some of the other characters. But at the end of volume 8, it gets so melodramatic that I just instantly dropped it. It has lots of miscommunication, lots of it, and I do not care for that in my fiction. Sometimes it's okay, but in this one I just didn't care for it. I didn't like the main dude character at all. I don't know. I just don't like him. The main girl character is fine. But I liked all of the other like fantasy elements way better than the main plot line with those two, and I felt like it was going to focus more on them, so I just dropped it. And I don't really regret that one either. Is that manga still ongoing? I think it is. I'm not sure though. Let me know. I also just didn't know where that manga was going, like what the end game of the manga was, what the goal was. And it could be because it's been a few years since I read it as well. But I just felt like I was done with it now. But yeah, so those are all the manga I'm going to talk about in this video. Let me know how much you disagree with me in the comments down below. Also, let me know manga that you've dropped before. I always find this very interesting to hear about the manga that people have dropped and why they've dropped it. I find negative opinions about manga a little bit more interesting than positive opinions. Obviously, I talk about manga I like all the time too, but there's also space to be talking about manga that you don't like and the reasons you don't like it. But yeah, that's gonna do it for this video. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you don't dislike this video too much. But yeah, I'll see you next time. Bye!